Alright. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the newest episode of The Worst Game Ever. I am your host, Kaznarious, and with me, as always,
the Porkchopper.
And with me, for a very special channel-warming, I guess, episode.
Yes, Sliv.
And Ren.
Yeah, amazing. You both really killed the introductions.
We knocked it out of the park.
We're not redoing
10 out of
that
10.
thing. Anyway, for those of us who are coming from the silent protagonist, you may be wondering what the fuck we're doing here. Well, we're kind of we've melded channels. We are now Thunderclub. We are all Thunderclub. We belong to Thunderclub. Praise be to Thunderclub.
I do like how Porkchopper has dressed for the occasion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got some
I
fucking
didn't really think about that.
lightning. Shit, how about that? I say let's get fucking right into the games. Don't you fucking touch that table. I am not having this discussion again. Sliver, if you touch that fucking table, I'm gonna kick your ass. You're not having your fucking cucumber! I feel the need to talk about the cucumber now, because it's beside the mic. Sliver came in here he just had a fucking wrapped cucumber. A pretty big cucumber. He took the wrapping off and he just fucking ate it. You're just nodding at me. He didn't fucking wash it or anything for pesticides. And now he's eating it again. And he's got fucking cucumber juice all over his fucking chest.
What the fuck?
Fuck. Porkchopper, why don't you start us off? Porkchopper was the worst game ever.
Worst game ever? It's actually not a game that I want to bring up on this podcast, but I kind of feel like I have to.
Now you have to.
It's Death Stranding.
Shit! I
Yeah,
was about to ask how that game was.
Yeah. Okay, so the story is really interesting, and it's not bad. But you know how Kojima has this penchant for over-explaining stuff in Metal Gear Solid? Like a 10-minute conversation is actually...
Sliver, stop wrapping that fucking cucumber. I guarantee he's picking it up.
Oh.
Just put it away!
Right on the table.
Oh my god. Okay, alright, continue.
But yeah, so he has this thing where he always over-explains everything, right? Mm-hmm. Like in Metal Gear Solid 4, forget her name, but you're in this church with this old woman from Metal Gear Solid 3.
Oh, Eva?
Yeah. And it's like a fucking 10 or 15 or however long conversation that's like a minute worth of info. Mm. Well, in this game, it's basically that, but they're also treating you like you're a fucking moron because every 5 seconds they're like, Sam, we gotta rebuild America. Every fucking second. In like a cutscene, they'll say you gotta rebuild America, talk about something else, and then they reinforce that you have to rebuild America. All throughout the game because apparently you're stupid and forgot exactly what you're fucking doing, and that's the entire point of the game. Mm-hmm. On top of that, he literally took fetch quests and made an entire game out of it, which is the worst type of quest in any fucking game ever. Like,
agreed, yeah.
Take a package, and then you deliver it to... By the way, because you're rebuilding America, all the cities are called not cities, because you're tying a knot. That's really fucking on the nose. I couldn't come up with anything better. But you go to the next knot city, deliver a package, you connect them basically to the internet called this chiral network, and then you go from there back to the place where you came and just backtrack and deliver more packages.
I feel like I can't think of another example right now, but I think that's like a thing with Japanese people where like they think they know a little bit of English and they make a fucking horrible pun.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they'll just run with it.
Yeah, it's frustrating because the game, it's like Kojima's the kind of visionary where he thinks he's the smartest person in the room and everybody else is a fucking idiot. Mm. And so he just over-explains, comes up with these stupid fucking names that, it's so frustrating. And then the game doesn't respect your time because he's over-explaining everything on top of spending 40 or 50 hours of just fucking walking. And, maybe 5% of the game is any kind of action at all. Like, you get, a boss battle every, fucking 10 hours. Mm-hmm. It's just...
Which I've heard is shit. I've heard they're piss easy.
Yeah, they're pretty easy. Yeah, you literally just run around, chuck a fucking grenade at it, and then just keep running away so it doesn't attack you. That's literally it. Fucking shit.
I gotta ask though, how do you feel about Monster Energy now that you've gone through so much of the game? And have you ever thought of watching Norman Reedus' ride?
No. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. Okay, so product placement is an issue in this game. So in Metal Gear Solid 4, you could use an iPod, right? And you could listen to music, and it was tied to gameplay because Snake was old. And so it calmed him down so he didn't have a heart attack or something.
It made sense diegetically. It was around the same time period.
And it fit in the game because it took place in present day. This game, the whole world is fucking destroyed. And apparently the only thing that survived is Monster Energy. And so if you want a 25% boost to your stamina every time you go back to your room, you fucking down 3 cans of Monster Energy. It's ridiculous.
That's awesome. That's the most aggressive fucking... Sorry, you were saying?
That boomer juice is just gonna live forever.
I mean, if you're gonna do product placement, do it in this really obnoxious manner that's really funny. Because it is kind of funny when he just pulls out a straight Monster Energy and downs it.
Fucked.
I don't know.
But, I mean, I can see
when
it
you see
still
it
being
one
annoying.
time, sure.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
When
maybe.
it's him, it's every time? It's every time.
It's every time?
Fuck
okay.
that.
And he's got this canteen, and the whole thing about the canteen is that so you fill it with water or whatever that you find, and it transforms the water into Monster Energy.
Does it actually?
It fucking makes it Monster Energy. And then it brings up your fucking stamina. It's so stupid. And then every time you're in your room...
Elixir of the future.
Right? So when you're in your room, you've got a shower. Now, you can shower, you can take a piss, or you can take a shit. And weirdly enough, because this is Kojima, each of those creates 3 different types of grenades that you could use to fight enemies.
Yeah,
okay?
I was going to ask when you mentioned grenades, I heard they're literally made of your shit and piss.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they are. They are.
What the fuck?
But every time you sit down to take a shit, the shower door closes, and then there's an ad for Ride with Norman Reedus on AMC, and it's Wednesdays at 7 p.m. or some shit. Why the fuck does how does that exist in this game? Why am I getting a fucking ad? The fucking world is destroyed. We don't have TVs.
Norman Reedus must be like Kojima's Jesus Christ. Turning water into fucking Monster Energy. Again,
It's so stupid.
It's really bad, it's really obnoxious, but I could almost respect the dedication to product placement.
So he really likes Monster Energy, I'll tell you that much. Fuck.
Jeff Keighley must have pulled him aside and been like, you know what your game fucking needs? Aggressive fucking product placement.
Oh yeah, the fucking Doritos.
I can hook you up with some Doritos, get some Mountain Dew. It's like, no, I'm a boomer. We're gonna go straight for Monster Energy.
Fuck, man. So yeah, product placement. The fucking story that takes so much time to explain something that I can explain in 5 seconds. Okay, for example, there's this thing called strand contracts, okay? Mm-hmm. The game gives you a lengthy explanation. Let me sum it for you. Basically, you bookmark another player, and then their structures that they built show up in your game. That's it. I don't need fucking a 5-minute tutorial explaining how to fucking favorite someone and see their shit in my game. It just doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I don't know, man. I really want to love the game because, the story and the premise is really interesting, and the graphics are fantastic, and I like the idea of what he tried to do with the whole asynchronous, multiplayer. But as soon as you start playing the game and going on these fucking journeys, everything falls apart, and it's hard to describe without you actually playing it to understand, how fucking shit it is. Mm-hmm. And coming from someone like Kojima, who I literally would never question before, I can't believe that he actually made this game. And it makes me wonder whether, you look at somebody like Peter Molyneux, for example. I feel like certain creators need a publisher that kind of handcuffs them a little bit and keeps them on track.
Yeah.
You set Kojima Unchained like Sony did, and you get Death Stranding. And it's not a fun game. So, yeah.
How much have you played through it? Have you actually beaten it?
No, I haven't beaten it.
Fair enough.
So here's the thing. So because the game's so frustrating, I actually haven't played it in 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And every day I'm like, I should really play this game or try to get further because I want to make a video on it. I can't bring myself to play it. I'll just go fucking play something else. I can't bring myself to play it again.
I can personally attest to how much you wanted to play this game.
Yeah.
You were incredibly excited the whole way through. You pre-ordered this, how long ago?
The day you could fucking pre-order it.
Exactly.
Legit.
You were... your shit this game is from, probably one of the biggest, you were so excited for this game.
Yeah.
Yeah. What the fuck?
Honestly, I haven't been this disappointed in a game that I was that hyped for in a really fucking long time. Pretty bad game.
Death fucking Stranding.
Eat sand.
You sound like you fucking eat I have a problem with talking. Eat shit.
No, you.
Fuck off. All right. Who wants to go next? Who's game next? Rin, what is the worst game ever?
So my choice is a little bit sentimental. More like I hate this game because of the experiences around owning it. So when I was a kid, I had an N64 growing up, and I had Smash Bros. And Paper Mario.
Mm-hmm.
Stop it! I see you making
Everyone is
replicating my
hand gestures.
because okay, I'm gonna just.
All right, I want to actually stop. Let's keep them going.
So anyway, I had Paper Mario and I had Smash Brothers, and my 6-year-old dumbass decided to trade them in for a copy of WWF Warzone.
Hell fucking yeah.
Which is these days like a $1 game. I traded 2 $60 games for a $1 game, and while people actually do respect the game for its gameplay, 6-year-old me had no idea who half the wrestlers were. And on top of it, I didn't know how to play it. And because the models, because it was on the N64, were so janky and they had no goddamn eyes, freaking 6-year-old me just started having these nightmares of like super low poly British Bulldog bursting out of the TV and murdering me.
Holy shit!
And like,
are you okay, dude?
And like I'd have these dreams where like I would unplug the TV because these freaking characters scared the crap out of me, and the TV wouldn't turn off, and like the models would just come out and murder me. So it doesn't even matter how good the game is. I just forever will associate it
Welcome
with
to Thunderclub.
terrible financial decisions.
Yeah, it
Welcome
was
to Thunderclub
childhood
works through their
trauma.
fucking crippling PTSD.
It was truly the universe. It was karma coming back to you for making such a terrible decision. I was like, playing this game isn't suffering enough. We gotta destroy his dreams.
That's fucked. Well,
I mean, do you have anything else to add? Like,
No, the game itself is okay playing it as an adult. But it's
all
the
right.
worst game. It's the worst game ever.
It is, yeah, it is.
It ruined my life.
Absolutely, it's the worst game ever. What the fuck? You can't see my eyes. My time is now. All right, unnamed guest. What is the worst game? Unnamed guest. What is the
Unnamed
worst?
guest we didn't introduce.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Never,
guest.
never introduce me.
Yeah, no.
I refuse to be introduced.
Fine, you got it. Unnamed guest was the worst game ever. I just introduced you shit.
Damn you.
Yeah.
Damn you now.
I don't know. The worst game ever, off the top of my head right now, would be Tales of Zestria.
Yeah, zesty.
Yeah, Zesty. Not really. It's not a good game. Very boring.
Yeah.
It's from the Tales of series, which I think some people in this room have played. It's a good series. This was a really bad introduction of it. These games are always like, it's a JRPG, but it's a multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you can have 4 people all controlling characters, like your 4 party members at the same time. This game introduced a mechanic where 2 characters merge into one. So you can't do that.
Shit.
And that mechanic is necessary for like all of the fights, basically, because it's way more powerful than just fighting normally. Bosses iron stance continuously, so you can't stagger them at all.
Fuck.
I think there's an entire fight where the guy refuses to iron stance until you get him to have health.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just... Sorry, he only iron stances until he gets to half health. And it's awful as fuck.
To clarify, iron stancing for people who don't know what it means.
It's... You can't stagger them
Right.
when they're iron stancing.
true.
Right.
I believe that's the terminology.
That makes sense, yeah.
At least that's what I call it. And I don't know where I got that from, but, fuck it. The story is just kind of generic JRPG stuff. Except for one character. There's one character in the game that's introduced halfway through, Rose. Because the producer or the director, I forget what his role was, he was, like, in love with her voice actress. Like, he had a major crush on her voice actress, so he, like, altered the entire script of the game to give her more prominence. There was, like,
That's the fucking lamest thing I've ever heard.
It's really lame! It's really lame. There was another heroine in the game that, like, in all of the advertising, you would think she's the main like heroine of the game that would be with you the whole time. She leaves about halfway through. She leaves about halfway through because she can't use the special power the main character can. Main character has some special power because he's like pure of heart or some bullshit. But she can't use it. She can't use it because she's not pure of heart. But the new character can. She just can, despite the fact that she is an assassin who kills people. But it's fine, because she really believes...
Sounds pretty pure of heart to me.
Yeah, she really believes that they're evil and they deserve to die. Despite the fact that I think in her character arc, she has herself doubting her, like, actions. So, like, how the fuck is she pure of heart at all?
What the fuck?
No, but he sounds like the opposite of a Harvey Weinstein, where Harvey Weinstein's like, you gotta fuck me to get in my movie. This guy is like, oh, please, if I give you a bigger role, will you please fuck me? Please. No. I'll give her a special power only where... Please fuck... No, he definitely got cut. It's great.
And then there was one, like... I'm not entirely sure of the details to this. But, like, people in Japan did not like the game. It wasn't very good. I did finish it somehow. But there was, like, some outcry about it, and they made, a public apology for the game, and they made that Rose's voice actress do the apology.
What the fuck?
She was the one that did the apology.
Holy shit.
Fuck.
That I think he was the director. That makes sense. Yeah, he's been promoted in the company to a point where he can't touch games anymore. Like, it's like the weird Japanese promotion where they promote you to not being able to do anything.
That's a great promotion. What the fuck?
Yeah, so he can't touch the games anymore. The next game in the series was Berseria, which was like a prequel to Zestria, and it kind of just shat over everything in Zestria. Like, the main character was called, like, the Shepherd, and in Berseria, the Shepherd is, like, the villain. So it just was, like, shitting on it. It was great. Berseria was a much better game. It fixed, like, most of the combat issues. But yeah, no, Zestria was not good. Don't play it, please.
It's the worst game ever. Alright, well, since Sliver does not have a game, I shall conclude us. Usually I have a rule where we all have to play the games we bring in. No matter how traumatizing they are to some people. But today I bring you a game.
Yeah, I have nightmares about Rose stealing my spotlight.
Today I bring you a game that I have not played, but I bring in solely for what it means on its franchise alone, and that's, of course, Pokemon Sword and Shield. Now, around a year ago today, when I bought Pokemon fucking Let's Go Pikachu for shits and gigs, because I felt like it, because I like Gen 1. I have an issue, okay? I like Gen 1.
Yeah, that's a serious issue.
Sliver here said, I can't believe you're supporting them. There's only 150 Pokemon. You're fucking sending a message that they can give you a shit game and not give a fuck.
It's $100 fucking Canadian, like...
Yeah.
It's just, like, it ain't worth it for what you get.
Exactly. And I said, Sliv, you're full of shit. The next Pokemon game is going to blow our fucking minds. Because they said...
And to be fair,
it's all good.
In a way, it did blow our
Oh,
fucking
yeah. It did.
Truly.
It blew a couple other things, too, you know?
and I said, well, they said they were going to make it a serious Pokemon game. I believe in them. And what we got was Pokemon Sword and Shield. Now, let's... And I say you were full of shit, but you're right. The sad part that I have to say is that you're right. The person who cannot give us a game today was entirely fucking correct. I honestly think you were actually onto something, that they were testing the waters for giving us not even a quarter of the actual decks. Because this game, holy fuck. How many fucking Pokemon were cut? Do we know?
I think
Like
it's...
half.
Yeah, it's
Like
over,
half.
just
Over
over
half.
50%.
It's over half. There's 400... There's like 401 or so in the game, and there's over 800 Pokemon. So.
Let's say it's close to 500 cut. It's like in the 480s or
sure.
490s.
And Dexit is awful. Obvious. The reasons are obvious why it's awful, but it's awful in the sense that the franchise itself has continuously built off of letting you transfer for each game. When Sun and Moon came out, Pokemon Red and Blue hit the store, the eShop, and one of the biggest polls like in their advertising was, hey, if you're like new to Pokemon, you can play Red and Blue and then transfer them over to Sun and Moon. And again, subsequent games, everything was transferable. Except for obviously the Game Boys, but again, they re-released those. Now we have Dexit, which sucks, and goes against why you, it goes against sentimental reasons for loving Pokemon. But what's worse than Dexit is, of course, the reason Dexit happened. Which was, hey guys, we're gonna make the greatest animations ever seen in the fucking Pokemon game. And I've seen PBR, I've seen Pokemon Stadium, and those were some pretty cool looking animations. And we're like, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, shit, you got like 800 fucking Pokemon animated. I guess it makes sense that you'd cut them to like have quality over quantity. The animations, holy fuck, they are so fucking terrible. They are so fucking basic bitch. It is absolutely stunning to think about how much they fucking lied about it. Models straight ripped out of the 3DS game.
They literally just like barely touched them up. They
did what they did for 3DS. They got their high resolution models and they just shrunk them down and put them on there. So that they wouldn't have to do them again.
Yeah, they were future-proofed.
Absolute horseshit.
And look at Pokemon Let's Go with the Pokemon partners and Walking With You.
Yeah.
The Pokemon Company fucking made walking animations for every Pokemon and then didn't put anything in the game. Mm-hmm. You can't have a Pokemon partner, anything follow you, anything like that.
You'd think at the very least they'd have the original 150 transferable since that just came out. There's no fucking excuse for it. And anyone who... I've seen shit like, oh, the Switch can't handle it. The Switch can't handle that much shit. Motherfucker, I've seen Breath of the Wild. Motherfucker, I've seen... Super Mario Odyssey looks amazing.
Dude, they got The Witcher 3 to fucking run on
Yeah.
the Switch. It looks like dog shit, but the fact that it fucking runs in the first place is insane.
Well, I mean, there are some... Again, you mentioned Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild. Mm-hmm. They're really good-looking Switch games. They're not, like, graphical powerhouse games, but they look good because Nintendo can do those, like, tricks to make a good-looking game that runs on not the best hardware. And I don't know why Game Freak can't do the same.
I legitimately want to know, like, the actual story behind the development of Sword and Shield. Because I've heard that, like, there were 3 other games going on the time that they started Sword and Shield's development. And that, like, they had Ultra Sun and Moon coming out, Let's Go, and
Little Town
Hero.
Yeah.
And you had the team so split up through all of that. I heard that, like, the importer was broken, that they couldn't import all the models, which is the issue with Sword and Shield.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard all this stuff about it, and I'm just curious how troubled that development cycle was, and if it's more that the development itself was really, really terribly handled, and that Game Freak just lost total control of the ship.
But that's not even an excuse.
No, it's not an excuse. They should have been put back in the oven.
I think Pokemon is the top multimedia franchise.
Now, I do know that
in the world. So you'd think Game Freak would have the money to hire people.
Speaking of that, Game Freak is actually, I believe they said, hiring 2,000 new employees.
Well, maybe that gives me some hope for the future. But not right now.
Yeah. Please forgive them. They're a small indie developer.
A small independent company.
But, I don't know. What it essentially comes down to is, we can say how shit the game was. We can bitch about how much they lied to us. We can look at how fucking terrible the game was and how the fucking quick save bricked saves, or did it? It bricked
corrupted save files.
Corrupted save files.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, they just made half. They gave us half the game, and it made 6 million copies in what did you say? Like a week? Fucking how many days was it?
The first week sales were like 6 million.
Yeah.
But its first week sales were from its Friday release to Sunday. So it's only been
3 fucking days.
Yeah.
It was like 3 days. They got like 6 million.
So it doesn't even matter. They can just keep putting out this shit. And it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah. Remember, if you want to buy Sword and Shield, get it used.
Yeah, whatever you do, just don't give them money. And I feel, I don't know, as a podcast, sort of talking about the shitty things that are happening in the industry, it would be a crime for us to go out of 2019 not mentioning this. Especially a franchise that, I mean, Gold and Silver are like my favorite sequels in video games of all time. Like, they're almost a technological miracle, because you have a full complete region, and then they fucking put the entire region of Kanto onto it too. Like, there's fucking, oh my god, wow, 8 times 2. Why the fuck can't my brain meet 16 fucking gyms to do? There's a giant you fight the protagonist from Red and Blue. It's one of the greatest sequels ever. And who knew that 20-something years later, the same company who went above and beyond just could not be fucked.
Well, actually, I mean, Gold and Silver had weird development issues too. Game Freak has never been like the most competent. They couldn't fit Johto on the game initially or something along those lines. Awada came in and literally did it for them.
Yeah, he saved the freaking game single-handedly.
He somehow shrunk the file size of Johto down so far that they could put all of Kanto in. So what we need to do is research necromancy, get Awada to come back from the grave, and just slap every single Game Freak employee.
Anyway, that's Pokemon Sword and Shield, the worst game ever. And the funny part is, I'm actually probably going to buy it used, and I'm probably actually going to enjoy it. I have no doubt that the gameplay is actually relatively fun.
The gameplay is probably fine, like, albeit it's, from what I heard, far easier now.
Yeah.
Well, that happens literally every game.
Yeah, but when they bring in a new mechanic like Gigantamaxing and Dynamaxing and say, oh, look at this brand new thing, it's gonna be the new Mega Evolutions, it's gonna be the new Z moves, and then you can take down a Dynamax Pokemon with, like, just a single stab. Like,
yeah.
That's fucked.
Well, yeah, but that's more that the gym leaders are just trash. As always. I hear Dynamaxing is being banned by, like,
because Smogon are Bobbies.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it'll probably be allowed in Nintendo's official formats.
Yeah.
But they allowed Mega Rayquaza, so I mean...
If I may go on a tangent for a moment.
By all means.
Fuck
Pokemon Home. Just straight fuck Pokemon Home. Like,
It's not even out yet.
It's not even out. Fuck it.
Worst game ever.
Worst game ever.
Hey, we got it out of them!
Pokemon Home is the worst game ever.
Why?
You have to purchase it, but you also have to purchase
Done.
Pokemon Bank.
I'm out. You have to purchase it. Fuck this game. It's not free.
You gotta purchase Pokemon Bank, and then you gotta purchase, like, Pokemon Home. So you gotta transfer from, like, Gen 4, Gen 3.
Pokemon Bank's like $7
bring
a
it
year.
into the fucking Black and White 2 Pokemon bullshit to get into
you mean the
Pokemon
Pokemon
Bank.
transfer thing?
Oh, yeah.
Where you, like, use a fucking
Then you get into Bank. So now you're paying for Bank to put all your Pokemon that you've always had in a nice, comfy place. But instead of the Pokemon Company deciding, okay, let's make this Switch compatible with Pokemon Bank. No, we're gonna make Pokemon Home. So now you gotta pay for Bank and Home, and then once you move them into Home, they're stuck in Home. They cannot be put back into Bank. Like,
I wonder if
it just blows my mind that they can just say, okay, move them here, now they're stuck there until we decide that they're allowed to be in a game again.
Not to mention, I wonder if they're going to need Wi-Fi to actually transfer them, which means you're going to have to pay for Switch Wi-Fi too.
Oh yeah, you're going to have to pay for Switch Wi-Fi.
Oh, that's triple dipping.
Yeah.
It's $20 a month.
Yeah.
$20 a year.
Yes, $20 a month.
So
you did it again.
Well, I would assume for, like, the 3DS games and for the, like, Gen 1, Gen 2 stuff that's on the 3DS store, they'll probably release, like, a companion app that allows you to take the Pokemon from those games and put them into Home without using Bank. I would assume that would be what happens. I would hope that would be what happens.
I fucking doubt it.
we all hope that Sword and Shield wouldn't suck massive dick, but
I think the
We
issue.
all hoped the Game Freak wouldn't fucking lie to us.
Oh
but-
shit, my Roku's broken. Thanks, the Pokemon
What the
Company.
Okay, yeah, that was so weird. Like, Roku didn't actually program their devices to be able to properly handle the signal information coming out from the Switch.
Oh,
So if you're
yeah.
playing Pokemon online, it bricks the Roku.
What the fuck?
I don't think it bricked the Roku. I think it just prevented
It
it from...
causes a boot loop, and you have to factory reset.
Oh, you have to factor it
That's fucking dog shit.
I thought it just interrupted communication.
Yeah, no,
Like,
it just
oh.
completely screws with the Roku.
Okay, no, it's worse
there
than
is
I thought.
No reason that it should do that, but it is actually on Roku. It wasn't a Nintendo thing.
That's
The Roku should
bad.
not have been able to read that as anything.
Yeah, fair enough, I guess. That's not really their fault.
I think the issue with Sword and Shield at the end of the day is, like, it doesn't matter how good the games are on their own.
Mm-hmm.
It's just what it could potentially mean for the future. Really does kind of bring a lot of worry to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Well, and there's another thing. So, how much were the games on the 3DS?
Around $50.
And they're
$50.
$79 now?
Yeah.
Plus tax.
So you're paying $30 more Canadian for less actual content.
Yeah.
Which is fucking ridiculous.
I mean, technically, you could say that the maps themselves are the extra content, but take a look at those fucking trees, my guy.
Like, we already know that Game Freak doesn't know how to store their character models properly.
Yeah.
Like, look at Sun and Moon. How many, like, different models were there for Lily? Because they couldn't figure out how to reuse Lily's model?
That's true.
Oh no, they had that for like every trainer. Like every trainer had like a separate model stored. Like each instance of like an ace trainer had like a separate model stored or something on the game. Or something along those. It was weird. Or maybe just for the overworld models, but I don't know. It was. I don't know much about the development cycle of the older ones. I didn't care much.
Yeah, another thing I just wanted to say about Pokemon that's actually... It says a lot about Game Freak, that their big thing that they wanted feedback on going into this game was that in the wild areas that are open world, now we've got a free-moving camera and we want you to tell us how it works. We've had free-moving cameras for fucking 20 years. And that's your big feature that you struggle to get working properly? Are you kidding me? I don't fucking believe it.
Yeah.
Also, the wild area. Actually, even towns have like ridiculous levels of pop-in.
That's true.
It's really funny when you see just like an onyx grow out of the ground as you walk like 2 steps.
Again, the fact that Breath of the Wild can run in a far bigger world without as much pop-in as Pokemon is unbelievable.
Anyway, worst game ever. Porkchopper. What, you have any news? You have anything to bring up?
I think the biggest thing that's happened recently is at the Video Game Awards, Microsoft stole the show right at the beginning by announcing the Xbox Series X out of nowhere. And the fact that they, instead of doing a traditional console design, it's a tower, which is actually really fucking smart. I've seen a lot of people complaining about it, and they say, oh, it looks like a fridge, but because it's a tower, your cooling is going to be fucking fantastic. And it's going to be quiet, because you really only need 1 or 2 fans.
Yeah, if there's anything Xbox needs, it's better fucking cooling. I remember that
no
Xbox
shit.
360 running like a fucking aircraft.
Yeah. That is not going to be a problem anymore. I think, and the fact that it's so fucking powerful, so the GPU in it is as powerful as like some of the fastest graphics cards you can get, and that's coming to console next year. Like, that's insane. So I think that's going to be really cool to see, especially since the game that they chose to show with it is Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. It's the sequel.
Right.
A company that's known for, not giving a shit about single-player games and focusing on multiplayer, they showed up and it's like, hey, Sony, our big fucking game is this massive single-player experience that we're going to create. And it's like, it kind of shows that they're finally getting, on the right track and they're going in a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
And I think going into next gen, they're probably in a much better area or like situation to compete. So.
Well, I think Microsoft seemed to really get its head out of its ass after everyone slapped them after the Xbox One launch.
Oh, yeah.
The Xbox One launch was so freaking messy with all the issues that went with the when the console was announced with the Kinect and no-use games and everything.
It's constant controversy.
Yeah, it was such a huge mess. And I think about halfway through, they kind of got their crap together.
Yeah.
And really turn a 180, and I think that's what this console's showing. Like, look, you can use your old controllers with it. You don't have to buy new controllers again.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff for the players that's in that.
And backwards compatibility
Backwards
for every
compatibility.
generation of Xbox on one system. That's fucking incredible.
Well,
And while it does look like a traditional computer tower, if it does mean that it's going to run quieter, and possibly even because it is a more traditional form factor, possibly even easier to repair,
yeah,
it might turn out to be like the best console they've actually been able to put out so far.
That said, I think Sony has an advantage right now because, okay, so Xbox, they're stating something about it being backwards compatible, like all the way down.
Mhm.
If Sony also has a bunch of backwards compatibility on their thing, right now the PS4 is the biggest console market currently, which means there's a lot of people out there that already have PS4 games.
Yeah.
So as soon as they hear the next consoles are allowed to play the games I currently own, well then I'm going to get the next one that plays the ones I currently own.
True.
Also, Sony hasn't revealed their full design yet, so they can still change it.
Well,
The link-
It's just going to be a bigger Stadia.
Well,
The leak, you don't like that convenient pizza holder
No,
right there?
the leak
No.
is the dev kit. That dev kits never look like the actual thing.
Oh, yeah.
I hope it looks like the real thing. I
Because-
want the pizza holder. Where am I going to put my pizza?
That's where the heat vents are too, so it keeps your pizza warm.
Oh, damn. They thinking.
Thinking it up. But no, I think Sony does still have a strong advantage there.
They do. The only thing I'm worried about, though, is the PS2 was wildly successful, and then going into the PS3 launch, they were really fucking arrogant, and they shot themselves in the foot with a lot of bullshit. And it seems like in the past few years where they've been blocking like proper mod support, they were against crossplay until they realized that everybody wanted it and they had to get with the program. It's like, going into this gen, I don't trust them to handle it the way they did the PS4, because every single time Sony's been far ahead, they've turned into fucking assholes.
To be fair, I think all game companies do that. That's
Sure.
that's what happened with Microsoft last gen. They were the top. The 360 did much better than the PS3.
It's what happened with Sega.
So they
True.
So they just went, okay, screw it. We'll throw all this bullshit in, and people will still buy it. And people didn't buy it.
It's true.
I mean, I'm hoping Sony doesn't go that far because
Hopefully.
I have a PS4 and I would like to get the PS5 to play my PS4 games still, and I don't want them to be anti-consumer assholes.
Yeah. I guess we'll have to wait and see next year.
All right, everybody. This has been another episode of The Worst Game Ever. You will see the rest of us and even possibly our unnamed guest in future videos.
Well, anytime you guys record in my basement, which you
will both hear him and the pool table.
I'm sure will happen again. You will probably hear me.
Anyway, get ready for more upcoming content, including something we're about to record immediately after this. And for all those joining us from our previous channel, thank you for coming over to Thunderclub. This has been Kaznarious and
The Porkchopper.
Sliv.
Grin.
and unnamed guest.
Screw you.
We're supposed to
Signing off.